So this is a pretty straightforward and easy to make herb and garlic cream cheese. So we'll start with the ingredients. Half a tablespoon of minced or crushed garlic, half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, an eighth of a teaspoon each of salt and black pepper, half a teaspoon of dill weed, half a teaspoon of onion powder, one 8-ounce package or 250 grams of cream cheese, just plain, and 2 tablespoons of milk. And you could use 2 teaspoons of garlic powder if you don't have fresh garlic or jarred garlic. So we'll start with a fairly important step, is to soften your cream cheese. So you take your cream cheese, which is cold, out of the refrigerator. What I do is I put it in a little Ziploc bag, like a sandwich bag that seals. And we're going to put it in hot water for roughly half an hour to an hour, but I let it go for a full hour. And you can see the temperature in Fahrenheit there, just over 100 degrees. And I also show you Celsius as well. And this is an important step because if you don't get your cheese nice and soft, what happens is when it's cold and you're mixing it, it could clump up a bit, and all the ingredients won't really get incorporated very well. So you want to start off with a nice soft cheese to do your mixture. So we'll cover that with a towel, and again a half hour to about an hour, and you'll see quite a difference at the end here. It's nice and soft, and it's going to be easy to mix and work with. The other method, you could take it out of the package and put it in the microwave and do a defrost, or just be careful though, you don't want to cook the cheese, you just want to soften it. But I found this is the easiest way to do it. And there you can see that's kind of the consistency you want to use when you're mixing it in the mixing bowl. And we're going to use a hand mixer as well. So now we have 3 options for garlic. You can use a garlic mincer like this, and we're trying to end up with about a half a tablespoon, either of fresh garlic, or you can have a jar of crushed garlic, which is something I often use. But when you use these jars of garlic paste or crushed garlic, you have to be careful because they do add some salt and sometimes vinegar or whatever preservatives. So just be sure to account for that if you see that in the ingredients list of the jar, that there's salt or other ingredients that's already in your dry mix. So here we go with adding our softened cream cheese, and 2 tablespoons of milk helps to make this blend a little bit better. And I'm using a hand mixer. You could mix this by hand as well. You could mash it first or just keep stirring with the spoon. Let's just make things go by a little bit faster, usually about a minute for the first mix, and then we're going to add our dry ingredients and then our garlic at the end. So speaking of garlic, if you do not have fresh or jarred garlic, you could use garlic powder, but it's hard to say the exact amount because some garlic powders are very strong, others they are not as strong, or they add fillers or something. So you kind of have to just maybe do like maybe 2 teaspoons and then see at the end what it tastes like. You could always add a little bit more. Okay, so it's preferable to use fresh or crushed garlic from a jar. The flavor comes through a little bit better, and it's a little bit easier to mix and better results. So there you can see the consistency. You don't want any lumps, so that's why it's important to heat up your cheese. And here we're going to add the dry ingredients first. So we have, this is homemade onion powder, but certainly you can use store-bought. And we have our Italian seasoning. Now if you're not a fan of thyme, then you could use maybe just oregano in place of Italian seasoning. So we're going to add our salt, our pepper, and our dill weed. So if you have dill seeds, you could use them as well, but preferably dill weed. Now you could use garlic salt as well, come to think of it, but then you obviously have to omit the other salt in your dry mix. So I found this mixture works well. So if you do have these ingredients, stick to it and see how it turns out for you. So we're going to mix this again, get it all incorporated. So I'm just on medium-low speed. Again, this doesn't take very long, probably, maybe 30-40 seconds for each mixture. And then we're going to add our garlic, which is a combination of the fresh minced garlic and a little bit of the jarred garlic. So about yeah, half a tablespoon. You could add more or less depending on how strong you want it, but I found this is a pretty good balance, and it gives quite a bit of garlic flavor, but not overboard. Okay, so we're going to give that a final mix, and this time make sure you just let it go for a while and get all that garlic in there with the cream cheese and the spices, and you want a nice smooth mixture. Now you don't want it too high of a speed, you don't want to infuse too much air into this, you just want it fairly thick, because you're going to refrigerate this later on and you want all the flavors to come together, so you don't want really a lot of air in your mixture. So this is nice on, you know, bagels and crackers, and it's nice to serve with other dips. And there's no preservatives obviously when you're making it at home, so it's just a matter of having the spices on hand and the package of cream cheese. But it's nice to let it sit in the fridge for, I would say, you know, a few hours for the flavors to come together. I've also seen some other recipes that use a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Again, you have to be careful with anything that has salt in it, like, you know, Parmesan's fairly high salty taste, so if you do that, maybe back off on or omit the original half teaspoon of salt. But yeah, it's not bad with Parmesan cheese as well. So there you can see the consistency we're looking for. Not too airy and not too thin. And you want to transfer that to a dish that's going to be in the fridge for a while. So this usually doesn't last a few days because we eat it pretty quickly, but you know, it can be in your fridge, I would say, you know, 5 to 7 days or so. Pretty much the same as store-bought, but doesn't have any preservatives, so keep that in mind. So just use a good spatula and get as much as you can in there. I use a glass bowl. Certainly use a plastic bowl, as long as you have a good lid that seals well. Okay, and again, here's the consistency we're looking for. Not too thin, not too thick, and not too much air. And it has a nice light garlic taste. A little bit of the dill comes through, but not too salty. And we had a little bit for lunch with some crackers and cheese, and it's nice to have on the side as well, or for parties. And we had some hummus for lunch as well. So thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe, and bye for now.